Welcome back. Getting you some international news. And the tension continues when it comes to Ukraine. It is on the edge of the war. Russia holds 10 days of joint military drills in Belarus. United States has called the drill an escalatory action amid ongoing fears of a Russian invasion. Our next report tells you more.
Tensions are rising in Eastern Europe. Russia and Belarus start 10 days of joint military drills amid ongoing fears of a Russian invasion of Ukraine. Moscow has reportedly deployed more than 1 lakh troops at the border, fueling probably one of the biggest crises in Europe since the Cold War ended. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who ended a whirlwind tour of European allies Poland and Belgium, has said the next few days could be the most dangerous in Europe's security crisis.
Were Russia to be so foolish to make the catastrophic mistake of invading any part of Ukraine, the Ukrainian army, which themselves number about 200,000, maybe 150,000 in reserve, they will fight. And there will be bloodshed. And I think everybody in Russia must understand that.
UK Foreign Secretary Liz Truss met her Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov. The meeting was described by the Western media as frosty. Meanwhile, the United States is once again warned it would be a gigantic mistake for Russian President Vladimir Putin to make any military moves against Ukraine.
I don't know that he's even made it. I don't know that he knows what he's going to do. And I think he has to realize that it would be a gigantic mistake for him to move on Ukraine. The impact on Europe and the rest of the world would be devastating, and he would pay a heavy price.
In Ukraine, citizens are demanding an end to the border face-off. Several dozen protesters gathered outside the US embassy in Kiev, seeking a peaceful solution between Ukraine and Russia. The small gathering saw demonstrators waving banners calling for conflict to be avoided by all parties, while some held placards expressing anti-US messages.
I'm thankful for America, which is giving us defensive weapons. You see, this is a very real story, but something which was on the placards, as it were, slogans which can bring animosity between nations. I'm not supporting it.
As fears of Russian invasion increase, the United States has sent more troops to Poland and Romania. So far, there's been no clear indications from the two sides of any possible climb down. Bureau Report, India Today.
Russia has sent more forces to its border with Ukraine and could launch an invasion anytime, including during the Winter Olympics, US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said. Here is a detailed report.
Simply put, we continue to see very troubling signs of Russian escalation, including new forces arriving at the Ukrainian border.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Friday warned that Russia is massing yet more troops near Ukraine and could attack in days or weeks.
We're in a window when an invasion could begin at any time.
Commercial satellite images by a private firm showed what it said were new Russian military tents in Crimea and extra troops, military vehicles, and helicopters at an airfield in Belarus. Russia has already amassed more than 100,000 troops near Ukraine, and this week it launched joint military exercises in neighboring Belarus and naval drills in the Black Sea. To counter the growing Russian threat, the U.S. deployed forces to Poland and Romania. On Friday, a shipment of American weapons arrived in Kyiv, and this week, Ukrainian forces staged their own exercises. Blinken on Friday urged Americans still in Ukraine to get out.
Any American citizens who remain in Ukraine should leave now.
U.S. President Joe Biden put it in even starker terms, telling NBC News, quote, things could get crazy quickly, and saying he would not risk American troops to rescue U.S. citizens in the event of a Russian assault. Moscow denies it is planning an invasion and called the Western military maneuvers provocations meant to bait Russia into war. But diplomatic efforts to resolve the crisis have yet to yield results.
I was clear about the tragic consequences that any invasion of Ukraine could have for all people, both Ukrainian, Russia and the security of Europe.
UK Defence Secretary Ben Wallace was the latest European official to meet with Russian counterparts in Moscow this week.
We listened to the assurances given by Minister Shoigu and indeed General Gerasimov that they would not invade Ukraine.
Wallace on Friday said both sides affirmed that diplomacy was preferred over armed conflict.